Evening students, we want to look at today a very important aspect of CSEC math. It's called a discriminant, right? It helps you to understand how many solutions you're going to get from a quadratic equation. So if you have a quadratic equation, let's say you have x squared plus let's say you have x squared plus 6x minus 16 is equal to 0. And you want to know now this 2 up here, this exponent tells you that you can expect to get at least two results for x, right? At least 2 results, no more than 2 results. The 2 gives you a clue as to how many values of x you can solve for in this equation, right? This is a quadratic equation. Because this is written to the second power, this is what makes it a quadratic equation. So we're going to use this discriminant now to determine how many values we can get from this. And then we're going to use a formula now to solve for x, right? Alright, so normally this is a 1. Whenever you don't see a number before the x squared, it is assumed to be 1. This number before the x is 6, and this constant by itself, this negative constant, negative 16, is what we call C. This one is what we call B. And this one is what we call A. So these are the coefficients found within the quadratic equation, right? And these are what we use. We're going to substitute the letters, the numbers, into this formula to determine what kind of values we're going to get for x. Now let's do that quickly. Now we have b squared minus 4ac, right? Now b is 6, so this is going to be equal to 6 squared, then we have a minus 4, a is 1, and c is minus 16. This is going to be 36, 6, 36. Come on, something. 6, 36. Now, when you multiply a minus 4 by a minus 16, you're going to get a positive answer, right? And that is going to be 64. When 2 minus face each other, when you're multiplying, you get a positive response. So this is going to lead to 100. So this discriminant now, it's called a discriminant, right? It tells you, based upon what's in this equation, that the discriminant is positive. And whenever positive discriminant, let's use positive DIS for short. It leads to 2 distinct x values. They're not going to be the same. Once there's a positive discriminant, you're going to get 2 distinct x values. If you get a negative, if this had turned out to be negative, if the discriminant was negative, it would lead to 2 distinct imaginary numbers. And when the discriminant is 0, if we get this a 0 value for the discriminant, you're going to get 2 the two values of x are the same. In other words, if one value is 2, the other value is going to be 2. Two distinct values. So let's put this equation into the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula to solve for x is this. You have x is equal to minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, and everything is over 2a. Try and study this formula. This formula is very, very important, right? Now, what is b? B is what? B is 6. So you're going to have a minus 6. If b is 6 and you have a minus b, then the whole thing becomes minus 6. It's going to be plus or minus the square root of b squared. Now b is 6, and therefore this is going to be 36. 6 times 6 is 36. Minus 4, a is 1, and c is minus 16. We already worked out that. And everything is going to be over a is 1, 2 times 1. So that's going to lead to minus 6 plus or minus the square root of, now work out the top part now. So this is going to be plus. Minus 4 multiplied by minus 16 is going to give you a positive 64. When the minus faces another minus in terms of multiplication, the result is going to be positive, right? And this is going to be placed over 2 over 2, right? This is going to lead to minus 6 plus or minus, what is the square root of 100? The square, that is 100, right? 64 and 36 is 100. So that is going to be the square root of 100 all over 2. And this is going to lead to minus 6 plus or minus 10, because the square root of 100 is 10, right? Over 2. So from here you're going to get two answers. You're going to get two answers from this. From this response. You're going to get minus 6 plus 10 over 2. You're going to get minus 6 plus 10 over 2. And you're going to get minus 6 minus 10 over 2. So we utilize both signs. Minus 6 plus 10 over 2 and minus 6 minus 10 over 2. And of course this is going to equal to, you have a minus 6 and a 10, that's going to be 4 over 2, and that's going to be 2. So the first answer, the first value for x is 2. This is going to be equal to minus 16 over 2. And that's going to be equal to what? Minus 8. So the two separate values are 2 and minus 8 using the quadratic formula. Remember now, one of the reasons why we use the quadratic formula is because you cannot, when the equation cannot be factorized, right? When this equation is difficult to factorize, you either use completing the square or you use the quadratic formula, and you derive your answer. You just put in all the, you substitute the letters with the various numbers, because each letter represents a number in the equation. So you just substitute these letters with the respective numbers, and then eventually you will get your two solutions. One is 2 and one is -8. Until we meet in the next class.